Diffusions of Innovations. The major proponent of diffusions of innovations theory is Mr. Everett Rogers. Mr. Everett Rogers is a professor of rural sociology who published his seminal work titled Diffusions of Innovations. This work of Mr. Rogers is a study of 508 different researches from different fields of study such as sociology, education, and anthropology. In this theory, we would be hearing much about the word diffusion and innovation. So let's define diffusion and innovation. Innovation is any idea, practice, or object that is perceived new of an individual. While diffusion is the process by which an innovation is communicated through certain communication channels over time among participants in a social system. Therefore, diffusion of innovations is a theory that seeks to explain why, how, and at what rate innovation spread through cultures. According to Mr. Everett Rogers, there are 5 key elements in diffusion research. First is the innovation itself. Second are the adopters. Adopters are the individuals who are exposed to an innovation. Third is communication channel. Communication channel is anything that allows the transfer of information from one unit to another. Fourth is time. According to Mr. Rogers, it is rarely that an innovation is adopted instantaneously. 5 is the social system. Social system is a combination of internal and external influences such as the mass media, the government, and opinion leaders. There are 5 stages of adoption process: knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. The first stage is knowledge. During this stage, the individual has been exposed to the innovation but lacks information about it. And in this stage, the individual has not yet been inspired to find out any information about the innovation. The second stage is persuasion. During this stage, the individual is now interested in the innovation and actively seeks information and details about it. Third stage is the decision stage. During this stage, the individual accepts all information and details he gathered from the persuasion stage. And in this stage, he would weigh the pros and cons or the advantages or disadvantages of the innovation and decides whether to adopt or reject the innovation. The fourth stage is the implementation stage. During this stage, the individual has now purchased and is using the product and now weighs the usefulness of the product to him or her. The last stage is the confirmation stage. During this stage, the individual finalizes his or her decision whether to continue using the innovation or not. The communication in this stage might be interpersonal or intrapersonal. Next is the adopter categories. Adopter categories are the classification of individuals within a social system. According to Mr. Everett Rogers, there are 6 levels of adopter categories. First are the leapfroggers. Leapfroggers are those people who are isolated from society and skip several generations in order to adopt to the latest innovation. Then second are the laggards. Laggards are the last to adopt an innovation, and they tend to be traditional or stick to traditions, therefore resulting to the rejection of an innovation. Then third are the late majorities. Late majorities are people who are average participants. They tend to be skeptical about adopting to an innovation, therefore resulting to only few of them adopting or completing the adaptation process. Early adopters. Early adopters have the highest degree of opinion leadership in a social system. They have higher social status and has an advanced education. Lastly are the innovators. Innovators are willing to take risks. They have the highest financial liquidity, have the highest degree of education, and is closest to scientific sources. They also have high risk tolerance that allows them to adapt to technologies, and their financial liquidity allows them to absorb failures. Failed diffusion. Failed diffusion does not mean that an innovation is adopted by no one. Rather, it only means that the innovation does not reach the 100% of the adoption process due to its own weakness.